back here. Another video. Another day. This is going to be a different kind of video. This is kind of like well, I am in keeping with the rest of my YouTube channel in keeping the videos mostly useless to the viewers. So I hope you enjoy yet another useless video of mine. In today's video, I'm kind of not not totally predicting. That's going to be part of the prediction, my 12 months from now prediction. But it's also kind of just setting my goals, my beliefs, my principles, my questions for the future, my routine, um, and sharing a bit about what pushes me, and then finishing off with my predictions for what I think I'll achieve in 12 months. I think the idea of this video is really just to put it out in the open. And I suppose if I do end up being successful, I'll probably shave my head, buy some tan suits, move to Romania, and then start a big thing about how I am the best person on earth and how you should follow me and do my course. And then I can send people this video and be like, look, he called it out. That's probably how it's going to work, really, realistically. That's what seems to happen to everybody who successfully achieves any sort of fucking money, right? Any sort of money, what the fuck, any sort of wealth. Um, so starting off with my dream life, right? I'm just putting it out in the open, right? Starting off, nice car. I think everybody thinks about that first, right? Like a BMW 5 Series, 7 Series, or X5. Okay, that's pretty simple. Actually, before I say that, a lot of what I say about dreams and goals, it's unless it's an actual goal of earning a certain amount or something, a lot of it is to do with having the ability to do that thing, right? If I if I have the money, if I have the money to get a nice car, I still might not get it because I might say, "Fuck it, I'm gonna save my money. I'm just gonna pool all that money into the business or into fucking stocks or some shit that's gonna make me more money quicker." Right? That's what I might do instead. But the point is that if I wanted to, I would be able to buy that nice car or whatever it is. Right? Um, Next up, training my own gym. I actually already have this kind of set, completely not totally up to me, although I help with it. My dad runs a private sports college. I mean, you'll hear about that more in another video. I'll probably explain my life a lot more in depth. I've actually got a bit of a timeline written and stuff, right? That's not for today, but I already have that, right? Because my dad kind of has a private gym. Like, it was a public gym, now it's closed down, so now it's a private gym. It's just for us, which is obviously fucking awesome, right? So I already have that. And then, like I said earlier, the ability to be social in the evenings, which means having the schedule flexibility. And I use flexibility rather than time there because I don't believe I'm looking forward to working hard and working every day and building a business, but I don't believe that if you own a business, you can just work when you want to. You can choose not to work and then your business is going to fail. How about that? But no, you have to work a certain amount of hours, 50 to 60 hours a week is what I'm imagining at a minimum. Um, and that's why I say a flexible schedule, because it says, oh, you know what, I'm going to go out for lunch with so and so I'm just going to work an extra 3 hours tonight instead. Having the schedule flexibility, right, rather than just time and choosing when to do something, right? Um, Very different things. And then obviously included in that with the ability to be social is not having to think about the cost of anything, dinners, taxis, drinking, anything like that, right? And in that dream life, as part of that, I would still work 5 to 6 days a week, especially when I'm young. Like, I'm not even fucking 20 yet. I'm just turned 19 like a few weeks ago. So for the next 10 years at least, I think 5 to 6 days will be my work week, or maybe 5.5 days. I might take Saturday evenings off or something like that, right? But that's what I want to do. I want to work and build a bigger business all the time. I'm in this to grow as a person and to grow a business. Of course, the money is a driver. I would not do it if there was no chance of money. But really, for all of this, I am totally focused on growing as a person, building my character, growing a business, becoming someone deeply respectable, and less about the money itself. Because, like I said, I actually have my own gym. All I all I need right now at age 19, is money for going out and fucking drinking on the weekend, going out clubbing or something. That's all I need. I don't really need to drive, right? I have my own gym, literally 7 minutes walk. I have the keys to it. I'm lucky, very lucky. I do jiu-jitsu. That's also around the corner from where I live. Just happens to be. So I don't. I have a lot of what I'd have in my dream life. I already kind of have it now. So that's why I really am just focused on building a business and not prioritizing money. Um, and that's just how it is. I'm grateful for it, and I'll explain it more in another video. But that's just how it is. So my dream life is mostly just a nice car, training my own gym, ability to be social while working 5 6 days a week, and of course, ability to travel and have location freedom. But again, when you have your own gym and family around and everything, it does always pose the question of would you leave the country? I suppose maybe if I was making a lot of money, I'd move to Dubai or something, pay no taxes for a year or two. That would make a lot of sense. But I'm not naive enough to plan out or have a 5 year plan. I think that's an absolute load of bollocks, right? Your parents could get run over or die in a plane crash within the next 5 years. Then your dogs get run over within the next 5 years. And then your sisters also become drug addicts and end up getting shot within the next 5 years. Now, if I was to bet, I would say that's probably not going to happen. But you don't know. One of those things could. You never know, right? And you can't plan for that. So why do you have a plan for 5 fucking years? You don't. You can have a goal, and you're like, maybe this is achievable in 5 years, maybe it's achievable in less, but it's not something you should be thinking about every day, right? 5 year goals are just fucking retarded. A bit of a rant there, sorry. Then my beliefs and my questions, right, about the kind of stem from my beliefs, right? And I do definitely believe that success is possible within 6 to 12 months. Success meaning anywhere earning from 5 to 6 or 5 to 10 grand a month. I think 5 grand a month is still very strong. At that rate, you're kind of branching between upgrading your lifestyle or putting more money into your business. I'd put more money into my business as long as I have beer money for drinking with. Um, and maybe that's going to be my downfall. So that's what I would consider success, right? And success is also about happiness. That's a whole nother video again. But point is, if you're happy with a 9 to 5, that's great. You've achieved success. You're happy, right? That's what it is. But I'll get into later on why I would not be happy with that. And I say success is possible at hard work over 6 to 12 months. But my biggest question is, what is hard work? And a lot of people ask that question, and they don't have a clue what hard work is. I like to think I'm somewhere in between, right? Like my plan for when I start in a week or two in actual cold outreach, of course. I've been working the last while. Again, I'll explain later. My plan is 200 dials plus 20 emails plus 20 cold DMs. And I say 200 dials because you don't know who's going to pick up or for how long. And when people say calls, again, because I don't know how much work it actually takes, and I'm a very specific person, when someone says I made 200 calls today, I wonder, was that 200 calls or was that 200 dials? Because there's a difference. Being on a call with a guy for 5 minutes is not the same as dialing his number and it going to voicemail. That's not the same shit, right? And that's what I question is how much work is actually needed. I'd love to take a peek into Charlie Morgan's course and understand what's the contractual obligation as to how hard you have to work. He has like a guarantee, like 20 clients in 180 days or something, or 6 months. But there's obviously, I'm imagining there's an outreach fucking target you have to hit every day. So I'd love to see what that is. And honestly, that does kind of ruin the point of, again, I'm ranting, but it does kind of ruin the point of his 20 clients in 6 months, which is obviously it's a great thing. But like if he says, just say, do 300-400 outreaches every day. If you do it every day, you're going to be fucking successful. As long as you keep improving and tracking and working on it, you are going to be successful with or without a course. That's just pure volume, which makes sense. And it's what I'm trying to do with my 200 dials a day and so on. But yeah, so if it's just pure volume, then that's what it is. I'm ranting a little bit here, so I'm going to try bring it back. Yeah, and the reason why am I only sending 20 emails a day and 20 cold DMs, because I'm broke as shit and I don't have money for no fucking software. So it's probably going to be 20 personalized emails every day, which, if at least if they do hit, they hit harder. I might do looms as well or something. And then for cold DMs, I might do the same. I might send videos of me for the cold DMs from my phone or something, even though my phone's fucking ass. Next question or belief. Is the market actually saturated? Right? This is very hard to tell. Because following up from that, I say, or is it just saturated with idiots and lazy people? Or lazy idiots, even worse. Um, because and at least for me, I've seen a lot of Irish ads, and they're like people who are a little bit older than me, maybe in their 20s, maybe just got out of college, and it's like he's posting Instagram reels and stuff on do this and do that, and the thing gets like 30 views. It's organic. He doesn't even have money for ads. Or he posts a video on it's him, and it's like, oh, working hard. It's hard starting a new business, and it's him on his laptop at his fucking dining table, and I'm just like, I just know you're not working hard enough, and not even, I'm not shitting on a guy for working at his dining table, but if you're working at your dining table in a wooden chair that sucks balls, and you're working on a laptop with a trackpad, it's actually been proven people are more efficient working with a mouse than a trackpad. But if you're sitting in a wooden chair, wooden table in your fucking kitchen, it's not even a dedicated space to working. As I say while I'm in my bedroom, I know, bit of fucking hypocrisy. But a wooden chair, ass table, ass fucking laptop and a trackpad instead of a mouse. You don't have more than one monitor. I'm like, there's no way you can work as hard as me. All right, this office chair I'm in, it's bang average. My computer's, I'd say it's pretty good. If you're a gamer, you'd probably call it maybe mid tier now, but it's perfect for what I want. I've got two monitors. I've got a nice keyboard. Obviously, you can tell I've got a nice microphone and shit like that. A decent headset, Logitech G fucking Pro X fucking retard headset. So there's I have an environment that I've created, an environment where I can work very hard for very long. There's no way other people can if you're sat at a dining table. And I've completely gone on a rant again, I know, but you know what, this is the whole point of this video, is a look into how I think and my beliefs and my principles, right? And that's what I mean by, I suppose, how hard are you working, right? How hard is this saturated market working? Because obviously there's a lot of guys out there, but even other guys. So you've got one guy who I see, and he's at his dining table, and I'm like, there's no way you're working super hard, right? It's impossible. I couldn't do it working at a dining table, right? I couldn't. And then you've got other guys who are like posting videos, but it's like they can't even speak fucking English, or they're unprofessional, or they're like trying to be too professional. He's like selling. I seen this one guy, and he's like selling again. Facebook has business advice and stuff, but he's in like a suit, and he's in like sunglasses with like. Hold on, let me get. He's wearing like these kinds of sunglasses, in a full suit, and he looks maybe a little bit older than me, and it's like, you just look like a twat, mate. I refuse to believe anybody's working with you. Do you know what I mean? So that's also the competition. The competition, like I'm aware of, that's also the competition, and to be honest, my belief is that 80 to 90% of the competition is ass. But it's still competition, because you still have to rise above the noise, right? It's still there, regardless of how ass it is, or how fucking bad they are, or how lazy they are. Even if they only last 3 weeks, by the time their 3 weeks is up, another idiot steps up to the plate and thinks he can also do it, right? And I sound like a complete asshole shitting on everybody here, but I'm not shitting on any one direct person. I'm saying people get into this game. I'm talking like I'm a fucking professional. I am not. I haven't a clue what I'm doing. But people get into business and things in everything, in every aspect of life. They get into it with the wrong expectations and the wrong idea and the wrong work ethic, I think. And that's what I think the market is saturated with. I still think, like I said, you have to rise above the noise, and it takes a lot of volume and a lot of just pure effort and relentlessness and persistence. But I do believe the saturation is not as bad as people make it seem if you outwork people, right? Then my last belief, and it's not really linked to anything that's exactly going to bring me further right now, is that I do believe success is exponential. If you don't know what that is, it's basically, hold on, let me get it up. Here it is on the screen, right? Basically, the idea is that you start off, it's pretty ass, and it stays pretty ass for like a few months, right? And then it shoots up. That overnight success is really 3 months of hard work, and then over one night after those 3 months, something just clicked, something switched, you learned something, or something just happened with an algorithm, and now you're doing better, right? I do believe in that, and I also believe the more money you make, it gets to make money. That's a very generic statement to make, and I don't mean easy as in you just sit back in your chair and you manifest making money. I don't believe it. The law of attraction just suddenly comes. No, I don't believe in that. I just mean it's not as gritty, and you're not as stressed. Of course, you're stressed, but it's not. When you're going from, in my position, from 0 to 10K, I have nothing to my name, right? Almost. Okay, it's very hard for me to say this because I'm not in a bad spot, right? But I don't have, realistically, I'm worthless in the business sense, okay? Whereas at least if you're going from 10 to 20K, you've got a bit of money behind you, you've got tools and experience. You know what I mean? It is easier, okay? I don't have to explain that as much as I am. So my current routine slash planned routine, most of this I'm still doing right now, 'cause mostly just the outreach I'm not doing. So work 6 days a week, right? Definitely starting off 6 days a week, 8 to 10 hours a day. And by that 8 to 10 hours, I mean 8 to 10 hours of work. All right. Sometimes I see people and they're like, oh yeah, like a video, like stupid YouTube channels like mine. It's like, oh yeah, I done 12 hour days, 14 hour days, and like 2 hours was 3 hours was like in the gym, and then I had another hour of like eating lunch. I was like, no, that's not a 14-hour day. You spend 4 hours, and training is important. Your physical and mental health are linked, and it's important to look after them. But it wasn't work, or at least I don't view it as that. I don't. If it's not contributing to your business and your goal, it's not work. I mean, I know you can have a fitness goal, but I still view those as separate things. If I'm being honest, I don't view training as work. I think it's a bare minimum. Then again, I've grown up around gyms and training. Like I've always grown up around it, so maybe that's why I just don't see it as tough. I just see it as bare minimum, really. And then in terms of outreach, like I said, I plan to make 200 dials a day, 20 emails, probably looms, personalized kind of shit, and then same cold DMs, personalized probably type of shit, and then occasionally post on Facebook groups depending how my offer goes. Facebook groups might be a viable option. Like if I do start it off with some sort of web design deal or some sort of cheap websites just to build up a little bit of money to invest in better fucking tools, which I might do. You might offer a free website or something and then contact the rest of everybody who commented on that post and say, oh, I've seen you're interested for a website. I designed you one anyway. But, can you just pay for whatever fee you make up? And it's like 200-300 quid, dollars, euros, whatever, just to get a bit of money in. That could be used on a Facebook group, potentially. We'll find out. In terms of diet, I eat homemade chicken goujons that I make myself, and then I eat a kind of bake at home roll. All right. I know people are going to say, oh, that's fucking bread. That's horrible. That's a sin. How could you do that to yourself? First of all, these rolls don't have like fucking 40 ingredients. All right. They're actually pretty fucking nice shit. There's like 5 ingredients in them, and you just throw them in the air fryer along with your chicken goujons for like 10 minutes, and you're sorted. The chicken goujons are 100% real chicken, right? I just get chicken breasts, cut them up, flour, dip them in egg, and dip them in some breaded shit. I don't know what they call it, chicken goujon fucking crumbs or something. And then you can just put them in the fridge for a day or two, and just 10 minutes, and you have a fresh, very fresh food, very fresh lunch, and it's good food and good quality, and it's just something to keep you going, really, right? On the topic of diets as well, I don't eat my breakfast. I don't have breakfast in the morning, because your first 90 to 120 minutes of the day, maybe even a little bit past that, are your most focused. And if you take 20-30 minutes to make your breakfast and make a nice breakfast and so on, because you have to make your breakfast and then you have to eat it. It takes time. Every fucking second that you're eating breakfast in the morning, you're wasting time. When you're wasting your most focused time of the day. Not only that, but it also sets a tone for the day. I believe, and I've experienced it personally anyway. Personally, I mean, I've deleted social media now, but if I started the day with reels, I would find it very hard to work all day. I'd just be in this reels kind of mode or something like that. So I couldn't do that. But if you start the day working hard, I always find it's much easier to keep working throughout the day. That's just what I find, at least. And then ending the day, I will end it with some Netflix. Obviously I train 2 hours, around that 1 to 2 hours a day. That could be, splitting my work up, or it could be just after all of my work, I'll go out and train, right, depending on the day. And then end the day with Netflix or something where your brain can shut off and you're not distracted. That's very important. And the second one is the most important, because ending it with Netflix doesn't mean you watch a good series that you want to know what's going to happen next, because you run the risk of having no discipline and watching another episode and staying up late. But you also run the inevitable risk of thinking about that series outside of when you're watching it, which means, once again, anything that is not the goal you are doing, or anything that does not contribute to your main goal, is taking away from it, right? Because it's taking your time away from it and your energy, right? So, personally, I love when I find a good series that's like, it's watchable, but just about, something that you can watch the series and it's like an hour long before you go to bed, or you watch 2 episodes before you go to bed, but you don't really give a shit what happens, that's like perfect. Or watching a movie, right? Because they start and end. There's no a lot of things, and it's a psychological thing, is when you don't close the kind of feedback loop in your head, your brain keeps thinking about it because it was never closed. So by watching a movie, that story starts and it ends in those 2 hours, so there's nothing to think about. It's all there, you know it all, which is perfect. And watching a series, you run the risk of leaving things open, and I already said it, right? In terms of offer, like I said, it's most likely going to be starting off with some sort of cheap website deal. Oh, hey man, fucking designed you a website for free if you want to take a look at it, so on, so on. And the reason I'm also going to do that is I'm probably going to look at possibly doing SEO for free to build up a case study. Because once I build up a case study, I will have a lot more confidence and conviction behind me. So there's kind of two reasons for running the cheap websites. One, it's to get a bit of money in to pay for tools. And two, obviously building Google reviews and testimonials and stuff. But on top of that, number three, it's for hopefully building a good case study. And I'm only going to do that free work if it's in a niche or someone that's suitable that I could actually use to, market towards other people. And that's my plan. Like, again, I still haven't fully planned my outreach and my offer and stuff. So a lot of this video is a lot of it is to think about like what's right now. 2 weeks before he started outreaching, what was going through his head, what was he thinking about? And without a doubt, as time goes on, things will change. Especially these next parts that I'm going to go on, things will change and they will develop. And I'm not naive enough to say that everything here is concrete, right? So kind of getting more interesting now. I wanted to say, what am I willing to sacrifice, right? Because everybody knows that if you're not willing to sacrifice things for your goal becomes a sacrifice, right? That's how it is. So without a doubt, the first thing is social media. That's gone. I've already deleted that since like halfway through the summer. Just gone. Chasing women, chasing girls. Chasing girls sounds weird. Okay, we'll keep it to women. Fuck. Shit. Ignore that part. But yeah, how am I going to say this? Talking to women that you would not date is a problem. All right. I mean, I've never really had this problem. I usually get bored of people quicker. But, texting like 10 girls at the same time, what is the point in that if you're not going to date them? That's just taking away time. Not only that, but again, it can, or at least for me, it can fuck up your work ethic, because you're thinking like, oh, has so and so texted me back yet? And you're checking that, and then trying to play this mind game of trying to get them to text back. I mean, I haven't really done much of the mind game shit. That's not really my style. But it's definitely something that can happen. And like I said, it's a total waste of time. If you're out and you're talking to a girl, fair enough. But just if you're not going to date her, don't chase her afterwards. There's no point. Next up, what am I sacrificing? Video games. Don't even need to be questions. All right, they give you a false sense of progression. They can be addictive. They can also point you towards an unhealthy lifestyle in terms of staying up late. I mean, I don't think staying up late is a problem if you get your 8 hours of sleep. But if you're working in business, most likely you have to be ready and awake by 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Because you never know. If it's a business, someone could call by then. So you have to be up early enough. Early-ish, not super early, right? At the very least. So, and video games do not contribute well to that. Right, they point towards staying up late and playing with your friends, all right? What else am I willing to sacrifice? My temporary physical health. That's it's unlikely, because even if I'm working 8 to 10 hours a day, it's unlikely that I can't even fit in training 3 times a week. Right now, I train 6 to 7 days a week. Right, a mix of martial arts and that too, jiu-jitsu and karate too, along with the gym. So it's highly unlikely I'd have to totally give it up, but I'd be ready if it came. Next up, I'd sacrifice my mental health temporarily if needs be. I've already done that before, and you do have to be careful with burnout, um, because if you do it too much, you just cook yourself. I mean, I remember I seen Charlie Morgan mentioning how he worked very hard for 3 months and he just cooked himself, and then he had to take like 2 or 3 months off, which, he still learnt during those first 3 months, and he still grew and developed pain tolerance. But any clients he had, he would have, I don't know if he would have lost them or whatever, but it fucked up his progress and his sustainability drastically. So you do have to factor sustainability in mind. The problem is people will use that as an excuse not to work hard. So you do have to be very honest with yourself and very aware of your thoughts and your actions. You know, I'm generally very aware and analytical of myself. So I think I should be okay, but I suppose we'll see. What am I not willing to sacrifice? Meeting a girlfriend, right? I know this kind of contradicts to what I just said like 2 minutes ago, but chasing women is very different to meeting a girlfriend. If you have someone and you're talking to them and they're, you could date them. I realistically I can usually cross people out within like 10, 15 minutes. It's not that hard, especially when you're talking to just average people on a night out or something. It doesn't take that long. But I can say from experience, I've had a girl, a very good and strong bond and relationship. So I've had that, and I know that it's something that's very, very healthy for you, and it can definitely help push you forward. I mean, you do also have to be careful you don't get too comfortable, and that you just get happy having a girlfriend and you don't chase your goals. But if you can manage that and you have one, it's definitely better than not having one. And personally, because I know I have high standards and because they're so rare, as in meeting someone who matches you, I'm willing to take the chance and take a small hit on the business if it means I can be happier in the long term too. I view this as very much as a long term thing and not 90 days to 10k a month. If I do, fucking happy days, but I wouldn't even say it's a goal, right? Which means I probably won't achieve it, I suppose. But I don't know how achievable it is when you're 19 with no experience at all, right? And then something to consider / prepare / I'm on the fence about sacrificing is my social life. I mean, I am definitely sacrificing it somewhat, in the sense that I'll probably only meet people once or twice a month. Maybe go out for drinks. I mean, I live in Ireland. That's essentially what being sociable is. It's drinking. It's just where you drink and when you drink and what time, really. Um, I'm gonna try at least 1 to 2 times a month tops, like maximum. But like I said, we'll see how that changes. Maybe I'll say, you know what, fuck it. I just have to go all in and fuck everything else. Or maybe I'll say, you know what, this is good because it keeps me healthy. And again, back to sustainability. You still have to make it sustainable. And if the journey is undoable, then you'll never reach the destination, kind of thing. But that's why I put that into consider / prepare to sacrifice, because if it came to it, I think I'd be ready to get rid of it if it really had to. So next up, why haven't I started yet, right? Because I finished school in the end of June, then went on a lad's holiday, and I got back on the 15th of July, right? Why haven't I started? Why didn't I start doing outreach in August? And that's what I mean when I say started. I mean outreach, because outreach is really what matters. People get caught up in this thing of learning for 6 months and do nothing, right? So it's outreach is really the start of doing something. Why haven't I? Because I just wanted to enjoy the summer. Simple as. I've had some of these friends I've had for the last 15, 16 years, and I just said, you know what, fuck it. I just want to enjoy the summer. Now, in saying that, I've still worked every day, and a lot of it was also for my dad and helping renovate the gym and do all online website work for him and stuff. But on top of that, there was a lot of preparing for what I want to do. You could say there's a bit of busy work here and there as well, of course. Building out a fully fledged website. You could say there was a bit of work here and there, of course, as well, like building out a fully fledged website and stuff that you could probably wing it if you had to. But because I'm giving myself the time, I don't have to wing it. So there's, and I know you're watching this video and thinking, "Oh, fucking pussy," and you're right. You're right. I've chose not to start sooner. I've chose to wait until my friends go to college for me to kind of lock in. I also I'm aware that it'll be easier to do that when they go to college because there'll be much less distractions. Like they're going, I live about an hour from where most of them are going to college, and that's an hour like on a train, or maybe hour 20 minutes on the motorway or something. So it'd have to. There's no spontaneous just going out, and there's no spontaneous video gaming because I'm going to delete all my video games. So it's a lot more controllable then too, and all I'll have is my business. So you can see where I'm coming from, but yes, I could have started sooner without a doubt. My plan is to fully start outreach with cold calls and everything. We have a week called Freshers in Ireland. It's basically like the second week of college, I think, and people just go out drinking, go out to the pubs and stuff. Not like sorority house, frat house parties, pool parties and shit. But people go out, meet people, and I suppose meet people from the college, make new friends. So I kind of just go out for the fun of it. And I'm well aware that it's not contributing to my business. But after that, I'm locked in. All right, you have to trust me on that. And that's the key, is that it is true that you don't have time, and when you're young, you don't have time, despite people say that. But I do have like a month in me. I think I have a month of negotiation. Now the problem is if you let that obviously continue into every month, you say you have another month of time, which then it's a problem. But that won't happen to me. I say what I'm gonna do, and then I do what I said. Right. And then lastly, kind of on a deeper level, what pushes me? How will I stick to work and being consistent? And apart from monitoring my work and keeping it to 8 to 10 hour work days, and making sure I don't burn out, you do need a motivation. I'm not the biggest believer in discipline. I think every person with discipline is possessive, you could say, of a larger motivation underneath something somewhere. To want to be a millionaire, to want to work hard, or to want to achieve greatness, and for a certain amount of time of your life, dedicate your life to just working. that takes a special kind of fucked up. That's unusual. And for me, that's why I've spent a while during the summer trying to figure out what my fucked up is, so I can be aware of it, and I can use that to push myself. And because I don't have any deep trauma or something like that. I don't have anybody to prove. The way I think, I wouldn't allow myself to think that way, because I think trying to prove yourself to someone, that's fucking retarded. Why does their opinion matter? So that whole proving yourself to other people doesn't really work for me. What does work for me is the current lack of control over my life, meaning that I can't just go out for dinner and not think about the price. I can't go out socially, in any social event, you could say, not think about the price. If something happens to someone in my family, I can't look after them. I don't have a great health insurance plan where they get put into a private hospital and looked after, and they're not stuck waiting in a public place and stuff like that. Lack of control, and that's what it means. When shit happens, you just gotta kind of react rather than prevent it in a way. That's what the control is as well. Second of all, and this is probably the biggest, is the fear of mediocrity, right, and wasted potential. And cause that's a big thing for me, because like I said, I'm in a good spot here. I have a good computer. Although I do work hard and I teach myself, but there are other people who do that too, and they have less than what I have. So for me to sit here and have all of this and just sit my ass, I'm a waste of potential. I'm a piece of shit, really, genuine piece of shit if I waste my potential with all this that I've been given, and the opportunities and the strong role models I've been given in my life, even in that just being my parents. If I don't achieve something great, then that's just wasted potential. I can almost feel myself tearing up even thinking about that. Yeah, I think that's my biggest driver, is being a fucking waster, you know, being stagnant and having no growth and having no character and not being deeply respectable, you know, because that's the third thing I wanted to talk about is my desire to be undeniable and deeply respectable, and not in a way that I need to flaunt my wealth or my achievements or, you know, seek validation from other people. Most of it is to do with just proving it to myself that I am who I believe I am, and I'm capable of what I believe I'm capable of, and the only way to do that is to prove it. Um, but I suppose it's also in a way of being deeply respectable. It's like, you know, it's not flaunting my wealth, but it's like, hey, if the people in this fucking room know, they'd be pretty fucking impressed, you know? Like, sometimes I think if I had money, I wanted to spend the money on a watch. I'd get like a titanium watch, something that wasn't like super shiny, so it doesn't stick out that much. But like, it's, you know, it's actually worth a lot of money. And, you know, people think it's just an average watch, but it's not. That's kind of something I'd like, because it's like people don't know, even though I'm flaunting my wealth, people don't know it's flaunting my wealth, and that's kind of what I like, is a kind of discreetly flaunting and showing off, I suppose, where I understand it and I know it and I know what people would think if they understood it, but the people don't actually know themselves. That's my ideal way of flaunting wealth, I think, because it still satisfies my ego without being cocky. It's a good mix. People will still like you afterwards, and I suppose that's my goal. It's not what pushes me, what I'm about to say here, but it's, I suppose my goal for the next 12 months is to just chase growth and building character through pain. That's, I'm like a Charlie Morgan like parrot. I could probably, you know, I'm like you know, I'm repeating a lot of what him and Hermosi and others say, but it's true, you know. And that's a disclaimer. Anything I've said almost any time is not something I've came up with. It's always learnt. Then again, it's not like those guys have always came up with the shit they've done. They talk a lot about reading. Charlie Morgan talks about reading autobiographies. Hermosi, I haven't watched as much as him, to be fair, so I don't know. But, you know, everybody learns from everybody, and the key to being original is just hiding your sources. And that's the truth for a lot of things, right? And finally, to finish off, my 12-month prediction, 12 months from now. Now, again, like I said earlier in the video, I don't like making predictions like this. I don't like making predictions on outcomes, on something you cannot control, right? Because that's, you are potentially setting yourself up for emotional failure and stuff. Which is why you'll notice throughout this whole video up to now, I've not once mentioned the money or anything. I've mentioned building character and growing, and everything that you get when you do business except income. That's kind of what I've mentioned up to now, right? Because that's what's valuable, is being someone who can earn 10 grand a month rather than earning 10 grand a month, you know? Like, I think that's the key to why a lot of people fail sooner, is because they get too engrossed in the outcome rather than in the outcome, but in the sense that they're focused on the wealth, really, you know, like. And that's why I think I'm going to be able to be consistent. And I'm kind of rambling here, I know, but I'm focused on building character, right? Because building character and growing as a person, and growing a skill set, right? Because if your goal is 10k a month, by the end of 12 months, just say, and at 3 months you've still haven't got a penny to your name, you're going to feel like you were in the same place you were 3 months ago, when in fact you were not. Because you're now better at cold calls, you're better at sales, you're probably not better at the scale because you haven't had a chance to show it, but you're actually much closer than you were 3 months ago. But if you focus on just the money, you won't realize that, you know. So that's why I'm so focused on growing as a person and becoming someone deeply respectable. You know, like if I was handed 10 grand a month, I know everybody says, oh, I wouldn't want it, and you can only really take that as genuine when they've actually been offered 10 grand a month. But I wouldn't want that without the experience and the character building and the pain that comes with it. You know, if someone told me, I'll give you 10 grand a month at the end of this year if you make 200 cold calls every single day, then I'd say, yeah, fair enough, because maybe I've kind of earned it by then, right? I've actually earned it, and I've built up enough character and respect to earn it. I deserve it. You know, no one deserves anything, but you get what I mean, right? And that's what I'm kind of focused on. And I'm very lucky to be in a position where I can do that. where I can say I don't have to focus on money, and that I'm just going to focus on developing myself. I mean, I do have to focus on money at some point, but I'm still lucky to be in this position where I know that if I don't make money in 3 months, I still live in this same bedroom. You know, I feel very grateful to have that. So sorry, I got completely rambling and sidetracked there. But again, this is what you signed up for when you clicked on this video. This is a look into my thoughts and an insight into my mind before I start doing something. Because when I eventually, inevitably, become a massive guru, I'm gonna clip up this video and say, look at how he predicted it. You know, that's what's gonna happen. So 12 months from now, my hope is to be making 4 to 5 grand a month turnover, not profit. 4 to 5 grand a month turnover or profit, or not profit. Most likely through some sort of monthly service, whether that be SEO, Google Ads, Facebook Ads. Facebook Ads, highly unlikely. My plan really would be, what I'm thinking now is get a bit of money in now. Maybe that means selling cheaper websites and also getting a case study going. Maybe if that means doing it for free, maybe I do it for free, right? And I get a case study going for free, whether that's an SEO or Google Ads or something. And then I move into selling a Google Ads package, maybe with SEO on top of it, because it's more. And if people are with you in an SEO package, they're going to be with you for 6 to 12 months rather than 3 to 6, because they might dump you after a while if they think they can run their ads themselves. So there's that benefit to it as well. And potentially, if I was running my own Google Ads and got good at that, and then I tried Facebook Ads and I got good at that, and then I had a client and I said, oh, let's try Facebook Ads. Maybe I try Facebook Ads then, and see how things goes, and then maybe at that point I decide whether I should run Google Ads or Facebook Ads. Focus on one service, one niche. Direct it and focus as much as possible, because then you can create a better product around that one thing, and a stronger offer and a better guarantee, because you're just better at the service, right? If you have a better product, the guarantee automatically becomes better, which automatically makes it easier to sell, right? That's obviously what it's all about. And at the end of this 12 months, I hope to be much closer to that than I am now. And forgetting about money in 12 months, I hope to be great at cold calls. If I'm not, should probably just go get a 9 to 5, go start laying bricks at some fucking work site or something. Decent at sales, and of course constantly improving my skill set in terms of sales, digital marketing. They're the two really main skills that only matter. And then of course keeping fit, but I'm already pretty fucking fit. So yeah, that's this video. I don't hope you enjoyed it. I don't really hope that. I don't really care. If you did enjoy it, you should probably like it. Not that it's going to change that. No one's going to see this. It's probably my favorite part about this YouTube channel, is that it's like, I've already said this in like the last video I posted, but if nothing happens in this video, if nothing happens to me, it's fine, because no one's going to find this YouTube channel. So it's like I mean, it wouldn't be a win if I ended up working a 9 to 5, but it wouldn't be a lose in the sense that people find this and laugh at me either. So, suppose that's it. I don't know how to end this video, so I'll just end it right now.